all. Thank you. That's Sally with Amazing Grace. And today I just have a subject in my heart that is a very important subject that we don't talk about often at all, but it's a what's going on here? But it's an important subject. So it's something that I have been thinking about for a while. And at last, I want to add it to some of the things that I talk about because this is something that we cannot escape. It's something we are uncomfortable with. It's something we don't like talking about. But yet it's something that we cannot escape. It's part of life. So Jesus was with his disciples, and as usual, people always had so many questions about him and his response to the things that were going on with him and around him. And in Mark chapter 14, something strange happens. So I'm going to just read for you from the Bible before talking about it. Okay. Some of those present were saying indignantly to one another, "Why this waste of perfume? It could have been sold for more than a year of wages and money given to the poor." And they rebuked her harshly. "Leave her alone," said Jesus. "Why are you bothering her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them anytime you want, but you will not always have me. She did what she could. She poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare me for my burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." So this woman finds Jesus in this place with his disciples, as was always the case. But she does this strange thing that nobody could make sense of. Now, there are many things that I can say about this woman, but most importantly, she was anointing Jesus for his burial, as he says. So oftentimes, Jesus talked about his death. Oftentimes, he talked about his burial. He also talked about life after death. So these are subjects that were not strange to Jesus. He talked about it. He prepared his disciples. He told them things that he would say things like, "You will understand that when I'm no longer with you. You will use that when I'm no longer with you." So he prepared them ahead of time for the day that he would not be with them. However, in our day, we struggle preparing for death. We struggle talking about it. We avoid it until it's too late. And oftentimes, it ends up being a mess in situations that could have been taken much better care of. So, like I said, it's a subject that many avoid and don't talk about, but it's an important subject. So I will be talking about it. And one of the things that has also made me come up with this decision to add this to the things that I really want to talk about is because I come from a culture where death is a taboo. It's a big deal. And yet, I have seen many families suffer before death, after death, the things that people go through. People are afraid of death. And when someone is dying, people run away. People don't want to be part of that. And one thing I can tell you, out of 17 years of being a hospice chaplain, is that is that when someone is dying, they don't infect those around them with death. As a matter of fact, they need for someone to support them, to show them love, because that transition is not the easiest because of the unknown. And even though the fact is, especially for believers, for Christians who are out there, we believe in heaven. Heaven is real. It's a beautiful place. The Bible says it's a place that there is no more sorrow, there is no more sickness, there is no more death. And we believe that. But at the same time, we don't know how to release people to go to that beautiful place where there is no more suffering and there's no more pain. So my heart goes out, especially to the people where I come from. And that's the biggest reason that I'm gonna be talking about this, is because I have seen beautiful deaths. And you ask me, what is a beautiful death? Death is painful. It is always painful because the Bible is clear that death is our worst enemy. So it doesn't mean that people won't grieve. It doesn't mean that people won't feel the pinch. It just means that it's a death that is done in a way that brings healing, that brings resolution, that people are peaceful, even though it's painful, because you can have peace in the midst of pain. You can have so much peace, and I can testify that I have experienced that in my life because I have had some pain and quite a lot of pain. But I can also tell you that I have experienced extreme peace in those times of pain. So, in the same way, when we deal with death, we can experience pain and at the same time experience a lot of peace. And it can help us move our grief instead of holding to it. It can help us deal with avoiding regrets instead of being left with numerous regrets later on. It can avoid us from putting our families in extremely difficult situations. And these are all the things I want to get into because, for example, it doesn't mean people should lose faith. It doesn't mean people should stop praying for healing, for miracle. But I have heard of situations, I have known of situations where a person is extremely sick. It's end stage, for example, end stage cancer, where the doctors have completely said there is no hope, there is nothing else we can do. And there is every sign There is every sign around that this person is not going to survive. But yet, I've seen situations where I come from where the family will sell land, they'll sell everything to try to get their loved one treated, which is an act of love. At the same time, um, it's tough. It's tough, and it's a tough subject because if nothing can be done unless a miracle happens, we don't need to sell everything we have and leave a family homeless, leave children without education, without food to eat, um, in attempt to hold on to life. We can still pray for a miracle because God doesn't need our money to perform a miracle. But we can do it so that we are thoughtful of this person, because as death nears, there are certain things that are good for even the person that is dying, but are also good for the family. And one of those things is for everybody to come to one place, to one agreement, and that is to support the person that is dying as well as that family as they move through the grief. So this is a touchy subject, and I've talked with some people that I dearly love and that know me very well, that I can talk without looking for the right words to say. And some people think I'm completely crazy and insane, but it's that craziness that I'm willing to risk now because I have done this for 17 years. Like I said, I have seen extremely beautiful deaths. And one thing I can tell you is 17 years. 17 years is not a very short time, right? But for 17 years, I have sat down at bedside and watched many, many people take their last breath. I've seen a lot of people take their last breath. And for a lot of people I've seen, it's very peaceful. But I have also seen some people take their last breath with extreme struggle. Families also from one side to the other. Those that are very accepting, those that are struggling, there is all ranges. And it just depends on really what's going on in each family's situation. People are very different. People are in different places for different reasons. So you see all this variety. My goal is hopefully to help some people come to a place of peace. That's my goal. It's always my goal as I do the job as a chaplain. And now it's my goal going out into the community. And so I'm going to be talking about this. I'm going to touch on different things about it, among other things. I'm not going to make this like my daily subject because I think it's been one of my biggest fear is that after working for hospice all day, every day, for that long, it's not what I want to live outside of work and deal with outside of work. But at the same time, because there are things that over years have come to my attention, especially from my own place of origin, um, things that are difficult, I am going to risk talking about this on this live chat. And I also want to help people who, when your loved one is dying, These are people that you've known all your life, whether it's your parents, your father, your mother, siblings, whoever they are, friends. They are people you've known for a very long time, and you love these people. You've loved each other. You've walked the journey together. During those days, you still need each other. That person still needs you. And some of what I have heard and the stories I have heard is there are very many people abandoned and left to die alone. And we ought to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, what would I like? Because that day will come for all of us. Like I started out by saying, it's the one thing that none of us will escape. So we're going to talk about how do we deal with this really difficult thing that we all want to run away from, but that we cannot run away from, because it's the one thing. Just like we never escaped being born. If you are here, you were born into this life and you did not escape it. In the very same way, you will not escape death. At one time, it will come, and it will come for all of us. So, in the same way, um, what can we do different to deal with it better? So, we're going to be talking about death itself, families, life after death, um, a lot of things. And I'm also really excited because I'm writing a book on this subject, and I'll be sharing more about it. I'm also writing a book on prayer. I'm working on two projects at the same time, and I'm really enjoying working on both of these subjects. Um, so I'll be sharing more information with you about that. But for now, I just wanted to let out these words. I have not struggled this much on our live chat. I feel like I'm sweating because this is a subject I have avoided so much. But I can't avoid it anymore. I feel like now I'm getting called out to deal with it and to talk about it. So you'll be hearing this from me moving forward. Otherwise, God bless you. God bless your family. Please don't be afraid, because if it's not your time, it isn't. Now, okay, I don't know. That's another day subject. I'll leave it at that. There's a lot of interpretations with that, so I probably shouldn't have said that. If it's not your time, it's not. But sometimes I personally believe there is premature deaths, and the Bible speaks to that. There are deaths that happen that should not happen. So just because somebody dies doesn't always mean it's their time. Um, and those are things to pray about. So we will proceed with this subject as the Lord gives me words, because I do need Him to give me words, because I do completely realize this is it. I realize it's a very touchy issue, but we are going there. All right. Blessings.